Back in the olden days of 2009, I reviewed Keen Dreams here on LGR, rather terribly in hindsight, but whatever, I was learning and finding my lazy groove at the time, so it stands as a piece of history, much like the Keen Dreams game itself, which is an obscure title in the otherwise well-known Commander Keen series. If you are unaware, Keen Dreams is the red-headed stepchild, black sheep, prodigal son, forgotten chapter of the Commander Keen games. It falls somewhere between the end of Invasion of the Vorticons and Goodbye Galaxy, so that effectively makes it episode 3.5 or some such nonsense. Unlike most of the other Keen games, this one wasn't published by Apogee, but was instead released by Soft Disk Publishing in 1992 due to id Software still having some leftover contractual obligations. Soft Disk released it, people forgot about it, and that was that, until 2005 when Flat Rock Software bought the rights to the game. Since then, it's floated around like a loose chunk of cat hair, with an Android release in 2013 by Super Fighter Team, and now a crowd-funded re-release for the PC by Javier Chavez. This includes not only the source code, but an updated port of the game for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS computers. Pretty snazzy in concept, but is it any good? Well, let's find out. I've only been able to test the Windows version on my Windows 7 and 8.1 computers, but I imagine they're more or less the same in features. After all, this isn't a complete overhaul or anything, this is just a port with a few extra thingies like modern gamepad support, widescreen and windowed mode graphic options, and even a switch for CGA and EGA modes right from the menu. There are more features planned if it gets through on Steam Greenlight, like cloud saving, achievements, big picture mode, and all that, but for the moment this 2.0 Beta 1 version is the base game that just happens to run without the need of an emulator or virtual machine. It's also the only way to currently acquire the PC version legally, so that alone is pretty awesome if you ask me. As for the game itself, well, it's the same pared down Keen experience as it was before. The story is that Keen refused to eat his veggies one night, then has nightmares about it where vegetables are torturing him in the land of Tuberia. Dressed in pajamas and armed only with hippified flower power seeds, it's your goal to collect enough Boobus bombs to eventually defeat the giant sentient potato, King Boobus Tuber. Most notably, you don't have a pogo stick, which puts it up for debate as to whether or not this is even a Keen game at all without his trademark power-up. Some other things are missing too, like any music whatsoever, the ability to look up and down, as well as grab onto ledges while jumping. Disregarding the sparseness of features, the gameplay itself is similar enough to Goodbye Galaxy that it doesn't completely suck. I had a lot of fun with this as a kid, and I still find it to be a unique challenge with its non-linear level progression and the challenges of using flower power due to the arc you throw seeds at. And of course, all of these setbacks are due to the original game itself, not the fault of the port itself. I really don't have any complaints about this port, except that I hope it gets these extra features at some point that he's talking about, and it also seems to crash constantly in windowed mode for me, but you know, whatever, this is still a beta. There's one more thing to touch on, and that is the price. Currently on sites like Indie Game Stand and Itch.io, this build costs $5 US, which is a bit steep in my opinion. Not only is this a lesser Keen game in both content and playability, but it's the same price you can get the other two Keen sagas. Now that's 5 episodes, which equates to $1 per episode, so using that logic alone, I would think Keen Dreams would be priced accordingly. But hey, there's currently no other legal way to get this on PC, and it's got some extra features that the other Keen games on Steam don't have, so I guess it kind of evens out. Either way, this is just awesome if you ask me, because games like this don't deserve to be forgotten. Even without my own nostalgia for this title, I'm glad this is getting some attention, because no matter what level 32 of Doom 2 says, Keen will never die. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy some of my other ones, including my really old Keen Dreams video, which kind of was lame, but whatever, it's still there if you want to go watch it. There's also a bunch of others on my channel, as well as plenty more coming in the future, so subscribing is a good idea. Also a good idea, if you're interested in this port, is to check the video description for links to where you can currently buy the game, as well as the Steam Greenlight page. And yeah, there's some other links here, because that's what I do at the end of these videos. Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, they're all there if you want to do stuff other than YouTube that relates to LGR. Well, if you don't, then, you know, whatever, maybe it's your New Year's resolution not to mess with any of those services anymore. I wouldn't blame you. This is 2015. We should have hoverboards and flying cars, and yet all we've got are people tweeting their breakfast. It's disappointing. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching.